in Antigua for SIDS 4, which is a very important conference to bring all the SIDS nations, or the small island developing states, together. Ambassador Mythen, could you tell me a little bit about the backdrop to the conference and maybe Ireland's role in it?
Yes, this is the fourth SIDS conference. There's one every 10 years. And really it's a vehicle to bring all the small island developing states in the Caribbean, the Pacific, the Indian Ocean, African Ocean together as a group to really campaign for and highlight the challenges facing small island developing states, particularly climate change, in some cases a climate emergency in very small islands in the Pacific, and also the needs of these islands for long-term sustainable development that really answers the needs of their communities. So even though they're very dispersed, from the Caribbean to the Pacific to the Indian Ocean, there are commonalities, and that's what this SIDS conference does. It brings those countries together with partners like Ireland that are very supportive, that are in partnership and want to work with the SIDS countries to really help that sustainable development focus and really address issues around climate change. And the SIDS framework is now very much part of Ireland's development policy.
Very good, and Ireland has contributed to backdrop to the conference.
We contribute to the SIDS in a number of ways. We've certainly contributed to this conference because clearly it's a very big undertaking to bring some 5,000 delegates here to Antigua and Barbuda, a very big undertaking for a small island like Antigua and Barbuda. So we supported this conference financially, but we also support the SIDS through climate financing and through other supports. We also have Ireland Fellowships, which is providing funding for young graduates from small island development states to come to Ireland and get a master's and go back and then bring that knowledge and capacity back to their countries. So we support the SID in a variety of different ways through our Irish Aid programme.
And it's a vital programme, and one that of course funds the Irish Aid Ocean programme as well, which is implemented by the Marine Institute in Ireland, and we're very happy to be here at this conference to make those connections, to get on the ground and speak with the researchers and understand what's been going on, getting to listen to the actual folks on the specific islands, and they're telling us about the issues that they're facing, what we need to do, what humanity essentially needs to do in order to reverse some of these things we're seeing in climate and environmental degradation, climate adaptation, resilience, or things we've spoken about quite a bit. What were your big take-home messages from the conference?
Yeah, well, firstly, Dave, it's great to be here with the Marine Institute and also with our new representative for the Caribbean region, Sharon Lennon, who works from Miami but has responsibility in the Irish Department of Foreign Affairs for all the Caribbean countries. So it's a big opportunity for all of us to really connect with Caribbean countries in the first instance, but also the other small island developing states. For us, I think it is a question of sharing, because it's very often said that what small island developing states are facing now, more developed countries are going to face in 10 years, 15 years time in terms of climate emergency, climate action. So in a sense, they're the canary in the coal mine. So for us, it's not just coming here to bring funding or political support. It's also to learn, to listen and to learn and to share experiences. And one of the really formative events that was on here that we actually supported financially was the SIDS Global Business Network. And there it brought together community activists, it brought together governments, but also entrepreneurs and innovators who are doing extraordinary work. There was a number of examples. One was Deborah Brosnan Associates, an Irish scientist working here, developing products to restore the coral, which has been very badly damaged by global warming. Another entrepreneur was addressing the sargassum weed crisis and actually turning that into a biofuel. So there's extraordinary innovation happening, and I suppose the question for small enterprises like that is to get the funding, to build capacity, to kind of bring those innovative solutions to a wider market, both here in the Caribbean but elsewhere. And I think that's something that we really support, bringing together funders, entrepreneurs and local communities to really have that dialogue. What do communities need in terms of recovery in the first instance, but also in terms of growth, and they're not mutually exclusive. Yeah. I think that's the real key point, a real takeaway from this conference, that we can have sustainable development, we can have recovery and damage repair, loss and damage as it were, in very meaningful ways, and we can have community dialogue. So it's not a case of people flying in and bringing solutions ready-made, but actually really engaging with communities, very small communities that need their voices heard as we look at sustainable development, as we look at recovery from climate damage.
Thank you very much, and I'm finding a very quick one for you. We've had so many leaders from all around the world here at this, and they've come together to listen to these issues and to drive change over the next 10 years. The next conference is going to be in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
There's an awful lot that could happen in the climate and space at that time. But they developed the Antigua and Barbuda agenda for SIDS, and they've called it ABAS, which sets out their platform and their work and their strategy for SIDS and the goals that they need to achieve for the next 10 years. Were you involved in the...
We were involved in the drafting of that. That was negotiated at the UN in New York. We were very much involved in that, and we really wanted it to speak to the needs of the small island developing states. We think it does. There are a large number of really tangible action deliverables from that agenda, which we want to see really implemented now over the next few years. Issues like a centre of excellence for data management to really address what are the issues facing the small island developing states, because you can't solve problems until you know what the problems are. So that's just one example of the kind of innovation that's been thought of. We're involved in a steering committee for SIDS in New York. We're co-chairing that committee with Palau, and our aim is to use the committee in New York not on an annual or 10-year basis, but actually really working on an ongoing basis in New York to monitor implementation of the Antigua and Barbuda agenda for SIDS, to really monitor and ensure implementation is happening. Because very often, particularly in the UN system, what's agreed then isn't followed up on. What's agreed is not implemented, or not implemented to the sufficient degree. So for us, it's using that tool, that committee in New York, where we're actively involved, we're steering that, we're chairing that committee. How can we make sure that we actually don't come back here in 10 years' time and say, actually, we didn't deliver on that action plan. We didn't deliver on the potential and the vision of that plan. That's our big aim.
Ireland's been very strong in the international platform that's come through in this in that last couple of weeks. And I want to thank you for leadership on that and for your time today. Ambassador Mythen, thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you.